conservative legal group has come to the rescue of a couple Trump supporters who allegedly received death threats for supporting Trump in the 2024 election.
Pennsylvania citizens Robert Butwin Jr. and Janet Schmidt claim to have gotten menacing letters in the mail containing violent threats against them and their families for displaying pro-Trump signs in their yards.
PILF lodged a legal complaint in the beginning of May on their behalf, maintaining that the letters violate voter intimidation prohibitions under the Voting Rights Act and the Ku Klux Klan Acts. Here to break it all down is J. Christian Adams, president of Public Interest Legal Foundation, the group leading this lawsuit. Welcome to Rising.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to speak with you. Can you give us more details on how these threats take place, what exactly happened, and how you believe this could actually violate the law?
Yeah, dozens of people, not just our two plaintiffs, got letters in October threatening them with death, and they were going to be visited in the dead of night, is what the letter said. I mean, literally, it's a letter that was sent in the mail, and that their family was being watched, that they're on a database, and they will shoot their cat and more. That is literally what the letter said. And so these people got these letters. In America, you can't send letters like this threatening to kill people because they support Donald Trump. And it's amazing that whoever sent them had to visit the houses, right? Because they staked it out to find people who had Trump signs. And these letters went out to dozens of people across Pennsylvania in October, just before the election.
So why pursue this case now? Are you seeing a rise in, voter choice retaliation?
Well, there's a number of reasons why. We were hoping that after the election that somebody would be arrested. I mean, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service has the letters. Hopefully, the Pennsylvania State Police do. I know that the local police do. And you would have thought they would have figured this out. But I guess Inspector Clouseau is working for the postal inspectors, and nobody's been arrested. That's why we're offering a $2,000 reward for any information about the identity. In the meantime, we're in federal court. We filed a complaint in federal court as a placeholder, and we're going to go to the postal inspectors and say, give us your record so we can go find these people.
So how does this relate to election law? Because, right, if you send threatening letters over the mail, that's a crime, regardless of what the issue pertains to. It doesn't have to be specifically because of political reason or anything. You can't, threaten to kill people or make reports of that kind of nature. But you're saying there's a specific election provision that that would probably enhance the charges or something of that matter. Can you go into more detail there?
Yes. Section 11B of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is an anti-intimidation provision. I brought cases when I was at the Justice Department against the new Black Panther Party in Philadelphia using the same exact provision of law. There's also the Klan Act, the KKK Act of 1871, which says you can't conspire to intimidate people who want to exercise their right to vote. So we brought a case under both of these federal civil rights statutes to defend the Trump voters from the death threats that they received in the mail.
And what's the ultimate goal in this case? Are you seeking compensation, deterrence, and what would be the ideal outcome?
Well, the ideal outcome is this joker, whoever sent them, or jokers, to be in federal prison. That's what we really want, because you shouldn't be doing this in America. We don't threaten people based on who they want to vote for. The other thing we'd like to see is a deterrence. Like you said, we want people to know that they should feel safe when they want to put a political sign out, when they want to vote for somebody. That in other countries this happens, but not in America. It is not American to send death threats to people because they support Donald Trump. That isn't what we stand for, and we want Americans to know that they'll be protected if they want to exercise their free speech.
I have to imagine if the situation was the reverse, if it was Kamala Harris supporters receiving threatening correspondence in the mail, presumably from right-wing crazy people or crazy MAGA people, it would be a national story. It would be talked about in mainstream media constantly. Are you getting the same level of attention for this example of voter intimidation?
Well, you're exactly right. It should be a national news story if Harris voters got threatening letters in the mail. It should be a national news story if a cross gets burned in someone's yard because they have a Harris sign in the yard. And it should be if a Trump voter is threatened with death. But unfortunately, we all know the answer as to why that doesn't happen. It's because these are Trump supporters. It's not a national news story. And that's the problem with places like the mainstream media, the New York Times, CBS News, all of the familiar people who don't care about Trump voters getting death threats because it doesn't fit their narrative. But that can't bog us down. We've got to do what we can do to fix it.
Jay Christian Adams, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Next up, were the Democrats doomed to fail last November? Former President Biden seems to think so. We'll discuss. Stay with us.